What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm here to review a new show that is going to be Divorced Sistas. Yes, I know this review is super late. I gotta be honest, y'all. It took me a minute to get into it. I had to restart this episode like 3 times. I don't know. For some reason, there was a disconnect. But now that I think about it, when I first started watching Sistas, I did not initially watch it. I think like 5 episodes had went by, and then I just kind of caught up. But you know what? We're here, okay? This is season 1, episode 1, called The Pretty Lady. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so we start this episode off with Tiffany and Geneva. They are in the school carpool line for Geneva's daughter, Anika, right? Now, here's the thing. The girls are having a conversation about the other ladies, okay? At this point, Tiffany, she's feeling a way about Naomi because she feels like Naomi got a divorce. However, Naomi is still like holding on for what? Like, she's confused as to why her homegirl is acting the way she is. Like, keep in mind, Naomi had the worst divorce between the two of them because Tiffany got a divorce 3 years ago and Naomi recently got a divorce. Now, she says that Naomi's divorce was way worse. However, Naomi walked away with half. So, girl, you can't be too hurt. Now, the other thing about Tiffany is that Miss Mama is scared to date. It is very clear. I don't know what that man did to her, but my God, she is scared to even dip her toe into the dating pond. And the thing is, she would rather babysit for Geneva than to, put her best foot forward. She's like, yeah, I can go ahead and watch your daughter. Don't worry about it. Because at this point, Geneva and her husband, William, they need to spend some time together. And it's like, okay, girl, that's cute. You want to watch their child, but let this be a one-time thing, sis. Like, it's been 3 years. It's time to move on. Now, as they're in this line for the carpool, we notice that when Geneva gets to the front, her daughter comes to the car. The person who is working the line from the school is like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you because usually it's your husband. So, Geneva is very busy. It's giving me Geneva don't really have the time to really be a mom and be a wife because she is an attorney and that takes up all of her time. I said, okay, cool. So we are setting it up. I will say this episode was definitely the setup for us to try to understand some of the characters. They didn't flesh out everybody, but just, bits and pieces of certain characters. Moving on from there, we slide on over to Rashida. Rashida is played by the LaToya Luckett. Love her, love her, love her. And I love her acting. Because, baby, when I saw her on Greenleaf, that's what sold me. Because Greenleaf was a good show, y'all. I kind of want to do like a throwback rewatch and review it. But nonetheless, I forgot to mention, Geneva is played by Kadeen, and Tiffany is played by, I want to say her name is Brianna Price. I haven't really seen her in anything. But moving on. We get to Rashida and her husband. They're having a meeting at the church. First of all, Devon Franklin, when were you an actor? I know that Megan, your ex-wife, was an actress, but when did you get the acting bug? I'm a little confused here, but nonetheless, he's doing his job. I'm surprised, but he ain't doing too bad. Now, they're trying to, organize some event that the church is supposed to be having, but here's the thing. Naomi is invited, and her ex-husband is invited as well. Oh, but here's the thing. Rashida's husband says, well, you gonna have to go ahead and disinvite her because at the end of the day, her ex, he donates a lot of money around here. So you go ahead, handle that, tell your friend she can't come, and that's just gonna be that. I said, ooh, Jeff is something else, okay? Literally in this moment, we are able to see how he treats his wife, and it's just like, dude, you can bring it down a few notches. Now, we do see that there's an assistant there by the name of Bridget. She is trying to get everybody's schedule together. And Jeff is like, well, all I need is 5 minutes to talk. But, my wife, she could be up there all day. So how much time do you need? I said, I know he didn't. I know he didn't just do her like that. So, Rashida is kind of looking at him like, are you serious? And she said, you know what? I'm going to need however long the Holy Spirit needs me up there. I said, I know that's right, girl. I was just like, ooh, I do not like this man. So he decides to like crack a joke and be like, oh, she's going to take about 3 hours. Like, you can tell that this is getting under her skin. It's pissing her off. And of course, for him, he just wants for it to blow over. Like, she's just supposed to take that on the chin and move on. So they go ahead, finish up the meeting, right? However, Rashida goes after her husband to be like, hey, I need to have a conversation with you real quick. And he's like, I need to get to this next meeting. And she's like, well, listen, I need for you to stop undermining me in front of our staff. Now, of course, he's like, undermining you? What are you talking about? I'm not doing that. He completely denies it. And it's like, dude, now you're gaslighting her. Like, stop playing. And then he just brushes it off and is like, I have a meeting to go to. When I tell you he's going to get under my skin, y'all, he's going to get under my skin. He's going to piss me off. I can already feel it in my spirit. Y'all, we actually meet Naomi. Now, Naomi is played by Portia Coleman. Y'all, when I tell you, Portia Coleman is like a person who has been around for years. And I feel like the acting thing never really took off. So it is good that she's going to be on this show. But I swear she's been around since like the early 2000s. Trying to be an actress. Like, there's 3 people that I for sure can name that I think of as like shoulda, coulda, wouldas. There's Portia Coleman, Denise Lawton, and Angel Conwell. They will do the B-list movie. I'm not even going to call it a B-list. It's more like D-list movies. They will do, the straight to DVDs back in the day. Like, Tubi films. And this is no dig to them. I just feel like they have never been able to really break into like a real strong acting role that was like on a major network. So good for Portia. This is for anybody out there. Just keep striving, okay? You may get a Tyler Perry deal, Nonetheless, back to the story. She meets up with the other ladies, Geneva and Tiffany. Now, we quickly learn that Geneva is actually the attorney for Naomi. She's representing her in the lawsuits against her ex-husband. Now, according to Naomi, she wants her ex-husband to stop harassing her. Here's the thing. He wants her to let it all go because at the end of the day, you got the money, you got half of everything, leave me alone. However, for Naomi, she's like, no, because I need to find a new lawyer because you're not trying to really support me. And here's the thing. I feel like her friends are trying to be supportive for her. They absolutely are. However, at a certain point, you do got to try to like stop the bullshit. Like, girl, move on. It's over. Let it go. However, if her husband or ex-husband is taunting her online, that ain't right. But at the end of the day, is it that he's taunting you? Or is it that he's just trying to move on with his life? You know what I'm saying? Even though further on, we know that he's just being an asshole. But moving on, we're going to slip and slide on over to Bridget, y'all. For some reason, I was kind of confused because I was like, wait, who is Bridget? Like, is she a part of like the friend group or what? Yes, she is. I'm just like, Tyler, I see what you did here. Because of the way you set up the original Sistas, where you had the 4 friends, and then when people fell in love with Fatima's character, you added her as the 5th sister. I feel like you didn't want to redo that. You weren't sure how the people were going to take Bridget, so you just went on ahead and added her in to the mix. Cool. Let's talk about it. So, Bridget is talking to Geneva and Tiffany, right, on the phone. Because at this point, she has to tell them that Jeff said that Naomi X is going to be there to the event. And then Bridget, she goes to try to tell Rashida that, hey, the girls are on the phone. And Rashida's like, you know what, just give me a minute. Rashida's trying to get her mind right, okay? Because even though she's extremely pissed off by her husband, she still has to put on this image because she's the first lady of a church. Y'all, I feel like this is going to be very interesting, Rashida's storyline. Because her having to uphold that image while he's like, making her feel like shit, that's going to be real interesting. Nonetheless, Rashida, she's like, teary-eyed. And she don't want to talk about any of this. And Bridget basically tried to tell her, like, listen, maybe you should just go ahead and have the girls come over. Like, we can have a good time. And she's like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it up to God. I said, girl, I think God is sending you a message. Leave that man. So at some point, she's just going to have to go ahead and uninvite Naomi to this banquet because the ex-husband will be there. And it's just going to have to be that. And it sucks because this is her friend. Like, this is her ride or die friend. And she has to uninvite over money. If we really want to be technical, it's over money. Like, shit, just see if Naomi can match what he give out, and we should be good, because she got half. Nonetheless, Rashida, she ends up calling her girls back, and they talk about Naomi and how everyone needs to try to help her, get through everything. Because it's very clear that with Naomi going through this divorce, it seems like her mental is not good. Like, she's still focusing on what her ex is doing and not really moving on how she should be. So they plan on meeting up later, and it's very clear that Rashida, she got a lot on her mind. I'm just like, girl, go take a breather, you know what I'm saying? And have a real conversation with your husband. Like, baby, you're not about to play with me. You're not about to play with me in front of these people. But it's very clear to, honestly, even if she was to do that, he's still gonna act an ass because he don't respect her. That's what it is. He does not respect her. Oh yeah, you know what? I almost forgot what happened at the end of the episode. Yeah, he don't respect her ass, but I'm ready for her to turn on him. Nonetheless, she ends up telling Bridget, like, oh, don't even worry about me. Like, you don't even have to stay extra time tonight because I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my last client. And then that's going to be that. Because, she's counseling people, too. So, y'all, let's slide on over to Geneva. She's with her daughter. And Tiffany's still there. I said, Tiffany, you ain't got shit to do all day, huh? You just going to kick it with Geneva all day. But nonetheless, her daughter's just playing with her dolls. And she said, damn, baby, you fine? Oh. Everybody was taken aback. Like, now, what'd she say? So Geneva is like, where'd you hear that? And why are you repeating this? Baby, she said, Daddy says that to the pretty lady at school. He said just like this. I'm like, oh my God. What is going on? So Geneva, she questions her daughter, like, who is this lady? What does she look like? All the things. All we know is that it's Maddie mama. The little girl Maddie from her class is her mama. That's who he be talking to. Now, one thing I will say is that I did not like how the nanny, Sarah, she came in and Geneva is trying to question her daughter to get, some type of information. And here comes Tiffany. She's like, no, just let her go with the nanny. Kids, they just make up things sometimes. Girl, be so fucking for real. I need for people to stop acting like the things that kids say be so outlandish. I can understand if this little girl was yelling about alligators are red, mommy, or, the sky is green. Sure. Okay? I can understand that being wild. But her yelling about, damn, baby, you're fine. Like, that reminds me of when children say that somebody touched them inappropriately and the adults are like, that can't be true. Why wouldn't that be true? Like, what kid would lie about that? Like, I don't understand it. But you know what? At that point, I said, Tiffany, it's time for you to go home. It is time for you to go home and get out these people's business. Like, I just hate the fact that she was telling Geneva, like, you're jumping to conclusions. And, sometimes you go way off into the deep end. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? She was asking her kids some valid questions. Then I just realized that Tiffany told her the only difference between you and Naomi is that you do it with class. Baby, when I tell you, if I was Geneva, I would have said, girl, get the fuck about my house. Get out of my house. Like, it is very clear that her husband is probably doing something he ain't got no business doing. Okay? But we're going to go ahead and move on, y'all. We see Naomi with this man, Hakeem. Y'all, is this Bolo? Am I tripping? Because he sure do look like Bolo. Is that him? I don't know. Nonetheless, she invites this random man into her house. I'm like, girl, what is you doing? You couldn't meet him at a hotel. Why is he in your house? And what's crazy is that he keeps asking her, like, oh, is this your place? You here by yourself? Girl, get him up out of here. Get him up out of here. Like, he over here scoping the place out like he about to rob your ass. So he ends up asking her if she has a man. And she's like, I'm divorced. And Hakeem, he thinks that she must have gotten his house in a divorce. So now she got an attitude. I said, well, girl, he ain't thought wrong. You know what I mean? And she's like, you don't think that a woman can get this on her own? Well, you didn't, sis. So what else is going on? So she ends up telling him to leave. But he like grabs her up and is like, you hired me for a job. So they have this like back and forth, but they were also talking dirty to each other. And y'all, then at one point she had like his hand on her throat, and the next minute, she telling him to go ahead and munch. It was a lot. Like, this scene, it did nothing for me. Like, nothing was sexy about it. Nothing was attractive about it. I was, like, cringing the whole time. I'm gonna be honest. And then, like, when she was, like, standing up over him at one point, and the next thing you know, she rolled on her back. I said, what was the reason? What was the reason for any of these acrobatic moves? What is happening? Like, I guess this is trying to show that she was looking to take control in some type of way, because it's very clear that her ex had control of everything. But, baby, this scene was not given for me. I just gotta be honest, y'all. Let's slide on over to Geneva. So, remember how Tiff was saying how she be going on the deep end? Baby, she definitely went on the goddamn deep end, okay? So, Geneva is over here questioning the nanny. Like, yo, you ever seen a little girl named Maddie? And she's like, I don't know that girl or her mama. So, Geneva decides to blow up her daughter's teacher's phone. Girl, I know you did not call that lady when she was off work for this. Talking about I'm trying to set up a play date. And I was wondering if you could give me Maddie's mom's phone number. Girl, are you crazy? And the teacher's like, girl, I'm not giving you that phone number. If you want to meet with her mom, you can come to parent conference. Make time for that, sis. When I tell you, I said, Geneva, you got to get off this phone, sis. Just get off the phone, please. I just cannot believe that she called that teacher to do all of that. But don't worry, it gets worse. We're going to slide back on over to Naomi. She's over there riding like her life depended on it. And she almost kills the man because she have his like neck in some little harness thing, and she's like pulling on it, and I'm just like, again, it ain't giving what I need for it to give. Nonetheless, what she's done, she ends up paying him way more than she needed to, and tells him to leave because he stinks, his cologne is cheap, and all the things, while she's over here trying to log onto some website, right? Here's the thing. I guess he like fucking Geek Squad or something, because he ends up taking a computer and he's able to log in. He tells her then, oh, well, I'm about to go take a shower. And then she pulls a gun on him. He's like, you need to leave. Baby, next thing you know, this man, he over here playing around with the gun. Again, I cannot with these two. Like, nothing about them is giving me anything. Y'all let me know. Are y'all feeling Naomi and these scenes with Hakeem? because I am just so turned off. Nonetheless, Tiffany and Bridget, they go get their nails done. And basically these two are sharing the tea on the other ladies. Bridget is telling her all about Rashida, and Tiffany is telling Bridget all about Geneva. Here's my thing. Like, this ain't bored me. Like, I get what we were supposed to get, but yeah, it gave me nothing. Moving on. Geneva. So, y'all, this is where shit gets so crazy to me. She goes to her daughter's school and lies to like the janitor, like, oh my gosh, my daughter forgot her teddy bear and she needs it to sleep. Could you please let me in? I can just go in her classroom and grab it. That man lets her in. She gets up in there, right? She over here just looking around, trying to see anything with Maddie's name on it. She is trying to figure out who that girl mama is. So she starts talking to the janitor, right? Baby, that man started running down all Maddie mama information. Like, oh yeah, they own this, they do that. Her mom owns a yoga brand. I think it's a yoga clothing brand called, what was it? Reverse of yoga. Whatever yoga is, reverse. So it's like a goy or something like that. He over here giving her all the details. Just for her to be like, oh yeah, I realized I left it at home. I said, Geneva, you just really proved that Tiff was right. Your ass is crazy. Because ain't no way I would be doing all of that when I know I could have just came to the parent conference meeting. You know, just better myself. Nonetheless, y'all, we get to this last scene, baby. Rashida is in her counseling session. And, baby, she is doing her best to get this girl to open up to her, right? And, I mean, the girl was dragging it. Baby was dragging it. So then she finally is like, you know, I'm just hoping that God will forgive me. And Rashida's like, yeah, you know, God, he will forgive you, you know, whatever. Then she hit her with the, will you forgive me? And Rashida like, well, girl, what you do to me? What you talking about? And the girl said, I've been having sex with your husband. I said, girl, oh, get up out of here. Get her out of here now. So I said, oh, okay, I see now. Her husband now has gone to the young hot thing. So he don't have time for Rashida. He's going to demean her in every way that he possibly can because he does not respect her. Baby, okay, I see where we're going, Tyler. There was definitely some scenes that needed some work. There were some storylines that I wasn't feeling so far, which is Naomi so far. And I think we need to see more of what Tiff got going on. But yeah, I'm following. Okay, I'm ready for episode 2. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. Okay, I really want to know, are y'all into Divorced Sisters? Do you think it's going to be very different from the original Sisters? What characters are y'all liking and not liking? Let's have a conversation down below, okay? So go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel, y'all. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.